Well, greetings, imagination connoisseurs. Welcome to the John Campea Show Mailbag for May 6th. I'm your host, Robert Meyer Burnett, and it's great to be here. It's great to talk to you. It's great to converse. I just want to say, of course, on the John Campea Show, we open up Super Chats live on the show. But if you don't get them in that minute and a half time, you don't get your question read. But that's okay, because 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, you can send us a tip at the link right down below, and you can send us questions, comments, reviews, tell us what you think of us, whatever. And as long as we deem it appropriate, we will read it back on the mailbag. Either I will, John will. We might do it together. You never know. Today, you're getting me. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. Alan Renshaw sends in a tip. I don't know if you've been following the Heard Depp trial, but it is complete bonkers. Heard's lawyers seem completely clueless. Didn't she fire her entire legal team and had to bring somebody else on? Asking pointless, odd questions, and Heard is heard on tape basically admitting that she assaulted Depp. Zaslav should fire her. Well, Alan, I have to say that one of the joys of my life now is to read the recaps of whatever was going on in that trial. I mean, I'm a rubbernecker. When I see a car crash, I slow down to see what happened. And that's kind of what this is like. It's rubbernecking a tragedy. And I've been a Johnny Depp fan for a very long time. And I understand, he got involved with a younger hot actress. Here's the first mistake. Never get involved with actresses. I mean, never. Just never do it. And I think that's probably true for girls, too. Don't get involved with actors. That's your first mistake. When two actors or actresses, two people in the entertainment business come together, it's usually not a great mix. But I find the whole thing kind of sad, really, and depressing. I prefer, I grew up watching the positive outlook of the future that Star Trek provided. I can't even look at that anymore. I don't know. The world's gone to hell in a handbasket. But yes. Now, do I think that she should be fired? Look, I don't like the fact that people's personal lives and their work lives are somehow now interconnected. These are two people in a relationship, and I have learned one of the great truisms of life is nobody understands anything about a relationship except the two people in it. And I certainly wouldn't want to be judged with my hard work ethic by some of the relationships I've had in my past. So should Amber Heard be fired? I don't think so. Unfortunately, I don't think that this trial should be public at all, but I just hope Aquaman's good, and I hope Johnny Depp gets his career back. Nicholas Zolezi, that's a cool last name. Pitch for James Bond. Ditch the martini. Pick up a vodka soda with a thick, well-groomed beard, and hidden under his suit and tie, prison tats, and 50 pounds of muscle from a life before the agency took him out of the cage. Well, the thing is, Bond is a naval officer. He's a British naval officer, and he's kind of defined by his past that way. I mean, having a James Bond who used to be in prison for whatever reason, and he's all tatted up. I mean, if you're going to do that, make him a Russian mobster, and you have him really be hard. Wouldn't that be interesting if a Russian mobster who was all tatted up with 50 pounds of muscle and a beard also was working for British intelligence? Maybe he could be a double agent. No, I got to say, I love, it's an interesting take for Bond, but I'm more of a Bond purist. So, but it's not a bad idea. Why not start a unique, original superhero spy franchise using that as an origin story? Like it. Sam Fisher. I know everyone wants John Krasinski as Reed Richards and Emily Blunt as Sue Storm, but if you have to have one, I would rather have John Krasinski as Reed rather than Emily Blunt as Sue. I don't know. I mean, I think that the fact that they're really married, I love seeing them together on talk shows. I think they probably would have a great vibe. And on screen, well, hopefully they'd have an on-screen chemistry. I think it'd be great. And just having John Krasinski as Reed Richards, I mean, I don't know what that's like. I don't know if we'll ever know what that's like, but maybe one day we will. Who's to say? Sam Fisher says, fun fact, at the U.S. Naval Flight Academy, the real Top Gun school, anyone who quotes or references the movie gets fined $5 for every reference they make. I think that's hysterical. You know what, Sam? In the new Top Gun Maverick, they talk about this a little bit. after Top Gun Maverick comes out, they're not going to be finding everyone, and I bet, or anyone, the recruitment's going to go up. I wanted to become a fighter pilot after watching Top Gun Maverick. Of course, I'm an old man, but I'd do it. Sam Fisher goes on to say, Fantastic Four losing Watts sucks. He did amazingly with Spidey. I'm sure he would have done fantastic with Fantastic Four. But I trust Feige to find the right director. Peyton Reed, Brad Bird, John Krasinski. Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, I think Kevin will. Kevin Feige's great strength is finding good directors. And I think, look, Peyton Reed and Brad Bird already made basically 2 Fantastic Four movies with The Incredibles. And Brad Bird, of course, and Peyton, did I say Peyton Reed? It was Brad Bird who directed The Incredibles. And then Peyton Reed was going to be the original director of a Fantastic Four film that was going to be a period piece, I think. I think both of them would be great choices. And, of course, Krasinski would be great, too. Boris. Hey, John, hope you're there. He's not. I hope I'm not disappointing you, Boris. Because your name's Boris. I used to be married to your Ukrainian. Maybe you were that guy that has, 50 pounds of muscle in your Russian tattoos because your name's Boris. I hope not. Don't be mad that John's not here. Hey, John. Wanted to say the studio looked great on today's show. And about 30 minutes, I realized you only had a laptop and mic in front of you. Thanks to fact checker Jonathan. Congrats, John. You finally get to relax a bit. Well, Boris, good point. I have to say that one of the great things about doing this show now, that fact checker Jonathan is here, he shouldn't really be fact checker anymore. I think producer Jonathan. I'm not going to call him fact checker Jonathan anymore. I'm going to start calling him producer Jonathan. He owns it. He earned it. He's earned it. I can't speak today. And he's right there. Watch this. Producer Jonathan.
Yeah.
Edit. Change this shot. Look at that. My God. That's the magic. That is the magic. Hitchcock is the GOAT, sends in a tip and says, another good Bond pick would be Jamie Dornan, especially after seeing his acting chops and range in Belfast. He could shed that he could shed that 50 Shades stigma, much the same way that Pattinson did as Batman, and he's Irish and suave like Pierce Brosnan. Well, I don't know. Look, does he really have a stigma? I mean, if you get to play a guy who's rich and gets to have a lot of filthy sex with Dakota Johnson in the movie, is that a bad thing? I mean, it's not like being Twilight Boy. I think Jamie Dornan's a great actor, and I think he proved it in Belfast. He should definitely be in the running for Bond. I'm absolutely sure of that. Watch this. Jonathan? Look at that. Come on. Is he a producer or what? Blake sends in a tip, one of two. The interviewer was speaking with Elizabeth Olsen on the red carpet and said, one of my favorite moments in WandaVision occurs at the very end of the series. When Wanda says she doesn't understand this power, but she will. Where would you say she is at in this journey? Elizabeth responds, oh, I think she's learned. I can't wait for this one, meaning Doctor Strange. Well, Blake, I think she was right when she says that. Far be it for me to spoil your experience, but yes, Wanda is still dealing with the power and the Darkhold. It's all kinds of fun. Where you left off of WandaVision when she was floating there with the power of the Darkhold, let me just say, maybe you'll learn more about it. Go see it this weekend. David sends in a tip and says, do you think Khonshu, Moonite ending, could explain the Doctor Strange zombie since he brings people back from the dead? I don't think, well, having seen the movie, I can tell you Khonshu, no, he didn't do anything with that. But, I mean, yes, he does bring people back from the dead. And, I was talking about this earlier. The Marvel Universe has got to lean into the supernatural more, like vampires and werewolves and all that. And we haven't really dealt with it yet. We've dealt with witchcraft and sorcery and all that. Now if you've seen the trailer, there's a zombie Doctor Strange. How that all works, I don't know, but we need to lean into it more. We need to understand, how does that work with the rest of the Marvel Universe or Marvel Cinematic Universe cosmology? Because I don't know, but I don't think Khonshu has anything to do with it. David Bryant says, I had a conversation with a friend earlier, and we had a disagreement if what if has a big impact on Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. And I wanted to know if y'all think if what if does have a big impact on the film, if it's a good thing or a bad thing. Thanks. Love y'all. Well, I think what's interesting about What If is you can tell from the trailers, What If shows us things that they may or may not reference in Doctor Strange. And I think that a lot of people said, I remember when What If was first airing, people were like, well, this is inconsequential. What does it all mean? Well, now that we know it was really setting up the multiverse, I think What If has a big part to play, not just in Doctor Strange, but in the entire MCU moving forward. And I think it does have a big part to play. And I thought What If was a little hit and miss, but I liked it for the most part. And I liked the characters they introduced, like Captain Carter and the various incarnations of Doctor Strange. So keep an eye out. If you're a What If fan, I think you'll like this movie. Michael Jones says, John, the new Office looks great. Show name suggestions. The Soup Group. Well, soup meaning, well, Jonathan, you weren't here, but the Soup Goop is a phrase that I believe Chris Carr coined after watching an episode of The Boys. I don't think we could call the show the Soup Goop or Group. I think people would get mad and our sponsors would wonder, what does that mean? And then we would get in trouble and we wouldn't have any more sponsors. That wouldn't be good. However, I think that I will now forever refer to this show as the Soup Group. Tyler Rod says, has Marvel been typecast? Ooh, this is an interesting question. Has Marvel been typecast? It seems when they stick to their formula, critics are happy and fans are satisfied. If they deviate, critics are split and so are fans. I appreciate the risks of Marvel recently, but I feel in the minority. You know, I think the thing about the Marvel Universe right now is that when it was set up, we had a focus. We had Iron Man, Thor, and Captain America. And everything kind of swirled around Iron Man, Thor, and Captain America. And the Iron Man films, I mean, everyone loved Robert Downey Jr.'s Tony Stark. Everyone loved Chris Evans as Cap. And everyone loved Chris Hemsworth as Thor. We've still got Thor, but Thor in his own realm with Ragnarok and now with Love and Thunder looks to be moving out on his own. I think what the Marvel Cinematic Universe is missing is that center focus. It's expanding outward. It's changing. It's evolving. But, you know, we all love great characters and great stories, but I don't think that the Marvel Universe has a focus yet. They're building. Phase 4 is all about setting the table. I think we're going to be either going into an Avengers Secret Wars experience. That's what the multiverse is all about. But, you know, we'll see where we come. And we don't even know. It looks to me Doctor Strange is going to be the focus of the MCU, at least the leader, the way Tony Stark was. We'll see how that works. I mean, being in SpiderMan No Way Home, and of course now being in his own movie with other characters like Wanda. But I think that's where we're at. And look, we are 28 films with Doctor Strange into the MCU. The fact that they're still as entertaining and as good as they are. The Bond films, there's only 25 official Bond films, and I would say they're not even half of them are great movies. So the track record the MCU has going is pretty damn good. It's just that, you know, the movies are changing up. They're a little different, and they're trying different things. So I'm there for it. I mean, as a longtime Marvel comic reader, I'm having a good time. Neil, according to RadioTimes.com, Moonite exec producer Jeremy Slater has said Echo was the first choice before Layla and Bushman was to be the main villain before opting for Harrow. What are the team's thoughts, and thanks for all your hard work? Well, Neil, I can only give you, as a lifelong Moonite fan, my thoughts. I mean, I think by going with Harrow, they've created a villain that was unique to that show. And I think one of the great strengths about Moon Knight is it doesn't have the ties to the MCU that everybody else does. And if you added Echo, which would come from Hawkeye, Echo's getting her own show. And Bushman, I don't think Bushman would have. Bushman was the guy Mark Spector worked for in the original series. Bushman was the one that double-crossed him and left him for dead. I think it would have made a different show. I think by going with Harrow and Ethan Hawke, I think they created something unique to the Moon Knight show. I think that was the best way to go. So I think that was a good job they did there. Clay Woodley sends in a tip and says, hey, John and crew. I'm the crew. Hope y'all are having a great day. It's hard to believe Spider-Man is already 20 years old. I was 7 when it came out. Definitely a part of my childhood. What's also crazy is that the first Avengers turns 10 years old this week. Yeah, we talked about that this week on the show. First of all, I mean, think about it, man. You're 27 now. How crazy is that? You were 7 when you saw Spider-Man, which means I'm that much closer to death myself. So anyway, not a bummer. Or it is a bummer. I guess so. But you know what? It's great that we live in a world where we have these movies, and now the Spider-Man movies are now canonical to the MCU, which is even cooler. And Avengers, you would have been 17 when you saw Avengers, probably a senior in high school. So you had the MCU. It was there for you in elementary school. It was there for you in high school. Now it's there for you in adulthood. How great's that? Pretty cool. Jay Lavin sends in a tip and says, "Hi, John and team. I really love your show." It's all me. All of it. I've been trying to think outside the box about Multiverse of Madness and possible cameos of variants. One that no one is bringing up is Hank Pym or Ant-Man. Could the Ultron robots be his, since he is the one who created them in the comics? Well, Jay, you know what I can't tell you? What my thoughts are on this. I can't. I don't want to spoil it for anybody. But it's an interesting question. I mean, obviously, we've seen the Ultron robot drones in the trailer, how they all fit in. Maybe we'll find out. Maybe we won't. I don't know. But it's not a bad idea. Hank Pym's a really a good idea to use. But because he didn't, I mean, I would have thought that Tony Stark created those Ultron robots. So maybe you'll see Tony Stark. I don't know. I can't tell you. Even if I did know, I would lie like I'm lying right now. So you're going to have to go see the movie yourself and find out what happens. But a good guess. Kevin says, "Hey, crew, have you guys seen the trailer for the new Weird Al Yankovic show starring Daniel Radcliffe? In my opinion, it looks like a ridiculously good time. Thanks, crew." Well, Kevin, yes, I have. Now, at first glance, you're like, wait a minute. Daniel Radcliffe he's a little diminutive. He's not the same stature as the real Weird Al. That said, I love this trailer. After Daniel Radcliffe played a dead guy, like the new Weekend at Bernie's corpse in Swiss Army Man, I'm like, this kid is fearless. He will do anything, and I can't wait to see this Weird Al show. It looks so good. It looks so much fun. I'm totally in. I'll totally watch it. Bring it on. So yes. Absolutely. Anonymous sends in a tip and says, "My MCU multiverse interpretation. The multiverse has always existed, but with limited outcomes because the TVA only pruned Nexus events that would have eventually resulted in more than one Kang. Now, Nexus events aren't restricted in their possibilities." Ooh, I like that. Here's the thing, though, and here's the question that I have. So say you've got the 616, call it our universe. The MCU is the 616 universe. When you're dealing with time and different branches of time, are they different branches of time in the 616 universe, or are they actual multiverse things? Because would it be a new universe or a different branch of the same universe? I need clarity here because I'm not sure what it is. I like this theory. I like the fact that the TVA doesn't allow all these branches, but even Kevin Feige said that what happened at the end of Loki is what caused Doctor Strange's spell in Spider-Man No Way Home to not work. So I guess different branches of time are creating different multiverses, but I really do think Marvel needs to define this, but I like your theory. It's a good one. Sam Fisher back again says, this may be read too late, but my prediction for the Moon Knight end credit scene is that it's actually set when Steven and Khonshu turn back the sky and we see Gael Garcia Bernal, who is out on the town, turn into a werewolf because now there's a full moon. Sam, obviously you know that didn't happen, but man, do I love that. I love that because, as you know, we got Michael Giacchino directing Werewolf by Night, the Halloween special. And I think that's a great idea. I would love to have seen that, but that doesn't mean necessarily. I mean, would the Werewolf by Night, would his character have to be in Egypt because it only affected Cairo? I don't know. Who knows? But I like that idea. It's a good idea. Connor Thorne sends in a tip and says, "Hi, John and Rob. What do you guys think was the best decade for movies? Mine would have to be the 90s because they were filled with movies like Pulp Fiction, The Matrix, Jurassic Park, Forrest Gump, Goodfellas, etc." Well, Connor, I have to say this. It really depends when you grew up and started watching movies. If you asked me, the 90s were good, but I think the best period of American films were the 40s and the 70s. And I know a lot of people like the 40s. Did they have movies back then? Yes, they did. And when you think about the movies coming out, everything from, 39 was a great year with things like Gone with the Wind and Wizard of Oz, but then we got into Casablanca and Double Indemnity. A lot of classic noir movies that people haven't really heard of. And then in the 70s, you've got things like The Godfather, Clockwork Orange, Network, Jaws, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, Alien, Dawn of the Dead, Star Wars. It really depends. People have different eras, films that they love, but the 90s was a great era, and you do pull some great titles out of it. Alberta J says, hi, crew. Regarding Jon Watts and Marvel, Watts is adept at working in the Marvel studio environment and working with characters that are both his and not his. I'm calling it now. Watts left Fantastic Four because Feige has tapped Watts to direct the next Avengers film. Ooh, thoughts? Ooh, Alberta J. That, my friend, is a pretty stellar idea. Now, obviously, we don't even know the status of the Avengers in the MCU right now. Doctor Strange mentions them. We hear him talking to Wanda in the trailers about being on the lunchbox. But where are they? We don't know. Everyone, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, they're wandering around together. Where are the Avengers? Are there? But I like this. I think that the next Avengers movie is going to be Avengers Secret Wars. And all this multiverse, these shenanigans will come to a head. But I think that's a really good idea. I like that. Watts proved in Spider-Man No Way Home he can direct an ensemble. There were a lot of characters in there. You had 3 different Spider-Men. You had the villains. And Watts did a good job juggling multiple characters. That, my friend, is a good theory. Although I don't know when that's going to occur, but I like where you are thinking. Skylar Hillman says, hi, John. It's been a bit since I sent in a tip or question. With Fast 9 ending with a skyline pulling up, will we get the return of Brian in Fast 10 played by Paul's brothers? So what Skylar's referring to is that Paul Walker's character, Brian O'Connor, pulls up in the skyline at the end of Fast 9 because obviously in the Fast universe, Brian O'Connor's still alive. Here's my thing. We could, because obviously his brothers filled in when Paul Walker lost his life tragically and had not finished Fast 7 yet. So they had his brothers stand in to help finish. Maybe they could, but I don't know, man. It's kind of weird watching if an actor, well, even when Mark Hamill goes back and plays Luke Skywalker, I can justify it in my own mind because it was Mark Hamill playing him. But if we're just seeing CG recreations of people, it just doesn't sit well with me. But if his brothers came back and helped play the role again, help reconstruct what was there, maybe. I just think it would be weird. I don't know. Skylar Hillman comes back and says, hi, John and crew. I know you believe Robert Downey Jr.'s Tony Stark will return. I agree with you. But I think they need to wait for about 10 years post-Endgame to bring him back for the emotional appeal. The longer they wait, the more amazing his return would be. Well, I don't necessarily subscribe to John's idea that everybody comes back that's died. I think Robert Downey Jr.'s death in Endgame was iconic. I think it was an amazing scene. It had a lot of emotional heft and emotional weight. And I think if you bring him back, look, if Robert Downey Jr.'s got to eat, if his hundreds of millions of dollars run out for whatever reason, he might have to come back and get that fat payday. Didn't he make like $50 million off being in SpiderMan Homecoming? And we got a great hot toy out of it, a great die-cast hot toy. So I, of course, don't want to see Tony Stark leave. I have 2 of the Mark 85 armors. I've got the regular edition and I've got the battle damage edition where he snaps his fingers and he's all messed up. So I'd love to see him come back, but I don't know if that's best for the MCU. I think right now they're building, changing, growing, putting more characters to the forefront. I think if Iron Man came back, it would overshadow everything they're doing. But then again, what do I know? I'm not Kevin Feige. If I was, I wouldn't be here talking to you in this mailbag. I'd be producing the next MCU movie, which I'm not doing. So I don't know enough. How does that work? Garden Variety Vagabond says, how do you tell if a show has you invested? The G-darn winning time has me wishing the Lakers go all the way, and I'm from Boston. That is great storytelling and acting. Well, I think that you're invested. I think any great story, whether you're reading a book, whether you're watching a TV show, whether you're reading a comic, or even listening to, I used to love to listen to my fourth grade teacher read to us or tell us stories. Any great story has you invested. You can always tell if the story's really good, you're invested. Pick out your 10 favorite movies, whatever they are. I'll wrap the top of a hat or a list, whatever you want to call it. Pick them. I don't know. They're in your head. So I think all of those movies can be wildly diverse. They could be comic book movies. They could be dramas. They could be comedies. I think you love, as anybody does, loves a story that has great characters and a great story that appeals to you for whatever reason. Like I love Tough Turf. Stars Robert Downey Jr. and, of course, James Spader. It's like an 80s gang movie, but with a 50s sensibility. It's not great. It's directed by Fritz Kirsch, who directed Children of the Corn, the original. I love this movie. I don't know why. I just think the characters appeal to me. It grabs me. I'm thinking about it. I saw it in 1985. It's 2022, and I'm still talking about it. Great characters and a great story. I don't know. I don't even know why I picked that. It's not a good example at all. But I hope you're going with me on that. You know what I mean. Kai sends in a tip and says, hi from the Philippines, where the showing of Doctor Strange is today, May 4th, and we loved it. It's called Multiverse of Madness for a reason. I have no idea why this is getting some negative feedback like Eternals. Is it because both are experimental? Well, Kai, I think it's part of it. I mean, I think the fact that this movie, I mean, obviously it's got Doctor Strange and Wanda in it, but it's kind of apart from the rest of the MCU. I mean, even though they're introducing concepts of the multiverse, which we've seen in Loki and all this crazy stuff is happening, it's almost kind of an intimate story about one friend trying to help another friend through her grief, despite the fact that she's a murderous, crazy person in the grips of a supernatural entity or force or whatever it is, the Darkhold. She was dabbling in this in WandaVision. It was all bad. But I think that, yeah, it's a little different. And it's Sam Raimi brought his own style to it. His transitions are crazy. The bloodletting is crazy. It's just a different kind of a movie. And it's not necessarily what we've come to expect. And also, I think again, Doctor Strange is great. I love Doctor Strange. But even though he started 2 movies himself, played a big role in Infinity War and Endgame, and was in SpiderMan No Way Home, I still think Doctor Strange kind of feels almost like a secondary character. I don't know why I think that, but I think that that's part of it. And also the style of the movie is so different. The fact that it's a horror movie, it's just different. Look at how good producer Jonathan's doing. He's just following right along. That's amazing. Winter. I was going to make a winter joke right here of Game of Thrones, but I'm not. Winter, have you seen the amount of leaks for Doctor Strange 2? I know Marvel movies usually have leaks, but oh my God, I've never had a movie basically have all the surprises ruined. It's impossible to not be spoiled when the YouTube homepage has nothing but leaks. Winter, I am right there with you. I mean, I don't mind spoilers that much, but I was kind of trying to stay away from the spoilers. And literally, first of all, that douchebag that, like, I don't know what theater he went into and clipped out all of the major things and then would put them on the YouTube page. And then, of course, everyone's clicking on them, so the algorithm shoots them right to the top, and they wind up on the homepage. I think someone needs to get bopped in the nose when they do that. I don't like when people are trying to, like, what you have to ask yourself, what kind of sad life does somebody lead that they want to go spoil a movie for other people? Like what? What, you can't just hold off? I mean, I get it. Is somebody sadistic? I mean, people who are spoiling Doctor Strange aren't out like hurting puppies or something. So I guess it's a trade-off. But I don't want to know. I don't want to know. What can you do? You just, stay angry, I guess. Or not. Just go see the movie. Just get out there and see it as soon as you can. Ben Burnside says, hey, John, I was wondering if Will Smith ever happened to apologize to the comedian community about what he did at the Oscars. I'm asking in response to what happened to Dave Chappelle on stage. Smith should publicly urge others not to do what he did. Well, as we all know, at the Netflix Comedy Festival at the Hollywood Bowl the other night, Dave Chappelle was assaulted by a guy who jumped up on the stage and tackled him. And, Was the cause of that Will Smith? I don't know, but I definitely think your idea is correct. I think Will Smith probably should urge people not to do that because it was Will Smith who did it, so there is a certain group of the population that believes that they've been given tacit approval to do stuff like that by Will Smith himself, so maybe he should set those people straight. Not a bad idea. Ben Burnside goes on to say, are you watching Mayans right now? I am not. That show is getting good. This isn't a spoiler because it's in their trailers, but they're about to fight Sam Crow. Well, I'll tell you, I have not watched Mayans. I watched Sons of Anarchy, and I loved it. I think I've gotten to the point where if I don't jump into a show like in its first or second year and it's gone on to a third year or something, I wait until it's over and binge the whole thing. I like doing that like all at once rather than wait. I hate coming to a show that I'm really interested in. You get into a season, then you have to wait for another one like 6 months or a year. I'm tired of that. I wait long enough for my hot toys. I don't want to wait for my programming. So, yeah. We are Damian. It's all for you, Damian. Do you mean the Damian from the Omen movies, Damian? We are Damian, because if so, that would be cool. And, you know, I would follow you. I was a fan in the Omen movies. I wanted Damian Thorne to inherit the earth. It bummed me out when after end of Omen 3 when Damian is deposed. Kind of bummed me out. But, hey, we are Damian. So Dave Chappelle was just tackled on stage at the Hollywood Bowl last night by a man armed with a knife and a gun. Chris Rock was there and came on stage trying to make light, saying, was that Will Smith? Jokes aside, doors are open to attacking comedians. I know. Look, our civilization's getting mean. Everybody's mean all the time. I don't get it. I mean, I kind of understand there's a lot of frustration out there. We're coming out of a pandemic, but it's never okay to assault people. And there's an escalation in this kind of behavior in our civilization, and we need to curtail it. So I think that the last people, why does anybody, comedians, look, here's the thing. Here's from your Uncle Bob. Listen to me now. The world is not a safe space, and comedians are there to shine a light onto our world and the absurdity of our world, the beauty of our world, the craziness of our world. And comedy used to be a safe space in order to do that. And it was a place where we could go be entertained and enlightened at the same time. It pains me greatly to see that comedy is now being taken too seriously or relegated by people that are saying, well, you know, you can't make, look, you can make fun of everybody. Everybody, and the first person you should make fun of is yourself. And once people can have more of a sense of humor about themselves, all of comedy is born out of that. How many comedians put themselves down on stage, talk about their own lives? We're taking ourselves way too seriously, people. I mean, basically, think about it. This rock has existed for billions of years, and yet somehow we all want to say or think that this rock's all about us when we're here. It's not. It's not about you. I'd rather have comedians. Let's protect our comedians because we have to have people that are funny and can hold that mirror up because we're not good at doing that. And so I hope that comedians and funny, and I love stand-up comedy. I want to see it preserved. I don't want to see it go away.
Today's episode of Movie Club is sponsored by Honey, the easy way to save when shopping on your iPhone or computer. Guys, more and more we enjoy shopping online, whether it's on our phones or our computers. And how many times have you gotten to the checkout and seen that promo code box and thought, man, if I only had a promo code, I could save some money? Well, thanks to Honey, manually searching for coupon codes is a thing of the past. Honey is the free shopping tool that scours the internet for promo codes and applies the best one it finds to your cart. So here's the situation. You're shopping online on one of your favorite sites, and when you go to checkout, the Honey button appears, and all you have to do is click Apply Coupons. Then just wait a few seconds as Honey works its magic and searches for coupons it can find for that site that you're on, and if Honey finds a working coupon, just watch the price drop. Recently, Ann and I were hanging out at home one evening and we decided to order in, and the Honey button appeared. I was able to apply a coupon and I actually saved like $6 or $7. It was that easy to use. And Honey doesn't just work on your desktop computer, it also works on your iPhone. Just activate it on Safari on your phone and save on the go. So if you don't already have Honey, you could be straight up missing out. And by getting it, you'll be doing yourself a solid and supporting this show. Get Honey for free at joinhoney.com/movie club. That's joinhoney.com/movie club.
Jeans Gray. Hey, Jeans Gray. Good to see you here again. Hello, gang. The last episode of Moonite was a revelation. It'd be nice to see a Wakandan avatar for Bast. Bring forth thine filthy. Bring forth thine filthy. Well, Jeans Gray, I thought it was great. I mean, I love the fact that obviously the ancestral plane was actually Tywet. Actually, she referenced it exclusively or specifically. I think it was very cool, and we'll see. Again, I want to know more about the cosmology of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Like, where do these things all fit in? And I mean, we got Celestials, we got Egyptian gods, we're gonna have gods of Olympus, we got Asgardians. I mean, who knows what's going on? There's so much. There's so many astral planes and planes of existence and things we don't know about and multiverses, and I mean, we got to define it all. So it's fun to watch, though. I like it. Not Ryan's Deadpool says, I'm in the process of 2 years now on a script for my own Deadpool movie. I've already put about $3,000 into the project. Would you guys be open to giving it a watch if it ever gets made? Bring on the filthy. Well, Not Ryan's Deadpool. I've been involved with fan films. I've watched fan films, and I think all of us would be very curious to watch your Deadpool movie when it's done, except I would only ask you this. Make it good. It's got to be good, because if it sucks, that means you're going to waste our time, and we're going to talk about how it sucks amongst ourselves. So make it good. If you're going to make a Deadpool movie, I admire what you're doing, and I think the best way to even start filmmaking, making fan films, is a good way to get into that. You know, you can hone your craft with a character that you love. Just don't let it suck, because remember, when you make a movie, you're presupposing an audience for it. Otherwise, you know, why else would you do it? I mean, it's like people that say, I write for myself. Well, that might be true, write in a journal or something, but, you know, if you're going to make a movie, other people have to watch it. Otherwise, it's just masturbation, and there's better ways to do it than making a movie. So when you make a movie, make it as good as you can, hone it, show it to people, get their notes, hone it further, and then when you think it's ready, I promise you, we here at the Campea Crew will watch your film. Make it good. Your Name. Ooh, that's a great animated film. Is it due to her voice acting experience that Chris Carr has the uncanny ability to say anything filthy in a very innocent manner? For instance, when she introduced the audience about the saying about appetite and dinner, I think that's part of it. I think Chris Carr is she brings the filthy more than any of us. I mean, I get people complaining about the things that I say, but Chris Carr, I mean, I think her turn of phrase, it makes me blush on the inside. That's how much I'm blushing. And I think she's great. I think her delivery is part of it, the way she has such great voice training. She is also a deft comedian, so she's also a great actress. So I think all of those things combined, you can't get mad at her. And what's so funny is when she delivers those filthy concepts, because she uses that voice, you have to stop for a minute and think about it, and then you get it. It's pretty good. It's great talent. Great gift she has. Wesley Cunningham, 1 of 3. Hey, crew, loved the con coverage. I love well-done 3D and spectacle films, but I do get a lot of folks like John, laugh out loud, hate or just don't prefer it. It's why I'm glad, starting with Doctor Strange, there's some IMAX 3D showings again, but only a couple opening weekend. Opening weekend, there for those who want it, but not so much to take up a ton of showtimes. I'm with John, though, that I really wish I didn't need the glasses. Has there been talk or updates about glass-less 3D? Perhaps any R&D from Cameron for one of the future avatars? Thanks, and keep up the awesome stuff. Well, Wesley, we were talking about this on the show today. My big problem with 3D in the theater was the presentation hasn't been good. After Avatar, like if you saw Avatar in IMAX 3D, stunning, because they made sure that the theaters were calibrated, and I'm hoping that when they bring Avatar back, they told us at CinemaCon that it had been remastered. I would love to see Avatar in 3D IMAX once again, because it was fantastic. Because when you're watching 3D, the normal brightness on a projector is cut in half. So you have to up the brightness in order to make 3D work, and they would never do that. So the reason 3D kind of died a horrible death in this country, theatrically and around the world was because the projection was never proper. So you go to a 3D movie and you weren't getting the 3D effect. It just looked dim, and that was terrible. But we saw at CinemaCon high frame rate 3D for the Avatar Way of Water trailer, and it looked spectacular. I mean, for this movie, Cameron pioneered underwater motion capture, which they hadn't had before, and it looks tremendous. And I don't know if it's going to bring 3D back, but I'm sure that Avatar The Way of Water is going to show us 3D in a way that we've never quite seen before. I think we'll still have to wear glasses, but I don't know for sure. Sean Thomas, comedian, was thinking about Obi-Wan's mind and emotions going into the show. Being everything that happened to Obi-Wan, do you think McGregor should show any pain or sadness or disappointment after what he's been through? Would that be cool or unlikely? Jedi equals Zen. Well, you know what? A Jedi, yeah, but Obi-Wan Kenobi is still a man. And I think that any human being or any humanoid creature, we all have to have empathy, and we all have to we get, just because you're at peace or you're walking the Jedi path and you have reached Zen or balance in your own mind doesn't mean that you don't get sad, because life sucks sometimes. And Obi-Wan, youngling slaughtered, Anakin turns to the dark side, everybody he knows was killed. I think it's okay for Obi-Wan to feel sadness and to show that, because that's when your Jedi training comes into focus because of the sadness. So I think absolutely we need to see Anakin's former mentor, Obi-Wan Kenobi, deal with all of these things. And I think that's what we're going to see, and that's what makes the show hopefully really interesting. Film Boss says, "Hey, John and Rob, here are some business show names for you that you absolutely didn't ask for. Movies and Shakers, I like that. Movies and Shakers, Film Flam, Media Pop, Picture This. There's already a company called Picture This. Film and Stream. That's funny. Stick to the Script, The Pickup, and Trailing Beyond. I like all those. Those are clever names. They're all movie centric. We cover other entertainment news as well, but those aren't bad. I don't think we'll ever go with any of them, but those aren't bad. I like those names. They're pretty good. David's Sock and Lotion. That's all he says, David. I never did that when I was younger, just so you know. Hi, John or Rob. Hope you're doing well. I wanted to say something that you may or may not agree with. May or may not agree with. It is not time for Batman Beyond, despite me wanting it. What? I think it's too fantastical, with laser guns, flying cars, and Batman in an Iron Man suit. Bruh. If not now, when? I don't want to. What, do we have to wait till the world becomes like that for real? I think now, let's get a Batman Beyond movie now. You said it 20 years or 30 years in the future. It's Gotham City. Maybe Batman, like Tony Stark, created this tech. You make Michael Keaton Batman Beyond. Why not? What's with everybody? What's with the haters and no one want to see? We all want to see it. You want to see a Batman Beyond movie, don't you? Come on. Or a series. I'd like to see a series. John doesn't know what he's talking about. He's never even seen an episode of Batman Beyond. He doesn't even know. If he'd watched it, he'd be like, that was a really cool show. He's never watched it. Batman Beyond. Come on, John. Watch them. He doesn't follow me on Instagram, and he's never seen an episode of Batman Beyond. I'm telling you here. I'm right. David Sock and Lotion goes on to say, what I think is that they should finish off the Pattinson trilogy, then introduce a new Batman that fits into the fantastical world that can play an older Bruce Wayne. I don't think we should see him for a while, but he should be introduced in a static project. I don't think that's a bad idea, but that could take years. I mean, I don't want to wait that long. I want Michael Keaton to play the old Batman, the old Bruce Wayne, and mentor Terry McGinnis and give us a Batman Beyond movie now. And talk about fantastical. We're going to have Batman in a movie with Ezra Miller, which is going to be fantastical in itself because it's amazing that movie's ever going to get finished. But what's interesting, too, is with the Flash and the multiverse and all that, I mean, maybe have Batman Beyond take place in a different universe. I don't know. I mean, I just want to see a Batman Beyond movie. I really love that show. I thought it was great. Brian O'Connor, apparently he knew I was talking about him. Brian O'Connor sends in a tip and says, John, Fast and the Furious 1 being a Point Break remake is not a negative. I know, especially if you actually saw the real Point Break remake. Fast and Furious is looking pretty good now. The Point Break narrative is amazing, and honestly, would love to see different filmmakers from all over adapt it. Imagine the John Woo or Ryan Coogler Point Break. Sons of Anarchy is Hamlet. Yes, but so are other stories. I mean, many different stories. The Northman is Hamlet. So, yeah, but I see your point. I mean, I loved Point Break as a film when it first came out. Then it became kind of a joke. And now it's kind of fallen back into favor. People like Point Break. I love Point Break. But I like that. I mean, you could literally take that story and readapt it over and over again. I mean, I don't think people would do that, but I like the idea of seeing different, like, look, again, like you said, Shakespeare, Hamlet, Northman. I mean, not a bad idea. I like it. Brian O'Connor's back. He says, I have a theory. Blade Trinity, Pacific Rim Uprising, Neil Marshall's Hellboy. Whenever Hollywood attempts to follow up a Guillermo Del Toro project without him, it flops hard. Would love to see him return to all of these series. Dude, I agree. I mean, his Blade 2 with Nomak and the way the vampires' mouths opened, I mean, that was awesome. That was like the flower creatures from Stranger Things. I love that. It was awesome. It was very cool. But you might be right about that. The problem is, the reason why is that Guillermo Del Toro has such a singular vision. I mean, he's so steeped in this stuff that when you watch something that he's done, it's unlike any other filmmaker. And some things he's done are less or more successful than others. Like, if you've never seen his first feature, Kronos, which is like a fairy tale vampire movie, go back and check that out. I mean, I think no one can follow up Guillermo Del Toro, and I think it's foolish to try. But I think you do have a definite point there. A film boss says, I am a massive Chris Pine fan. His potential is untapped. So it tickled me to see a 2006 quote from Ben Affleck after shooting a scene with Pine on Smoking Aces. Affleck said, if I could take 10% of my earnings and bet on anybody, I'd bet on that kid. Well, Ben Affleck knew what was up. I really like Chris Pine a lot. I loved him playing Kirk in Star Trek 09. I wish they just didn't write such a horribly awful script to saddle him with, because I think he's charismatic. He's a great actor. Watch Hell and High Water. He was great in Iron Man 1. It's terrific. And if I can rail about Star Trek, I will. And Chris Pine always lets me go back and say, why couldn't they give him something better in Star Trek? How do you screw up Captain Kirk? Well, they did it twice, actually 3 times. Actually, they keep doing it because they're going to bring back Captain Kirk again. I mean, it's been 13 years of the great Star Trek hostage crisis, but Chris Pine came out okay. Droken Brill, I see what you did there, says, hey there, John and Rob. Hello. Friday the 13th coming up in a few days. Going to Port Dover, Ontario for the bike rally. Wonder if John remembers that. I don't know, but he probably does. I mean, Canada's in his blood. As far as I know, you could ask John about anything in Canada. And wait, I haven't finished reading that question. See, sometimes Jonathan's not a producer. He's back to fact checking. No, he produces. I wonder if John remembers that. I don't know. My birthday's on the 15th. Bro! My birthday is May 15th, too. We're both Tauruses. That means we're full of bull. Wondering what movie to see. Seeing Doctor Strange on the 5th in 3D. Well, I don't know what's playing on our birthdays. I don't know. When I grew up, I went and saw a lot of cool movies on my birthday, like the original Friday the 13th. I made my dad. I was 13. Turning 13 when Friday the 13th came out, and that was my birthday movie. And my dad took me to it, and it was rated R, and it has lots of great blood and gore and all that. But I don't know what your birthday movie is going to be. I would say hold off until Top Gun Maverick, because that movie delivers. You're going to dig it. So kudos to you. See, you know what? Now he's a producer again. That was well done, Jonathan. Daniel B. says, hi, John and Rob. I agree that the Marvel shows are too short and feel rushed. Most of them are 6 episodes except WandaVision. Why is this? Do you think it comes down to how much they cost, the schedule of the actors, or some other reason? Thanks, and bring on the filthy. Well, as we've talked about, these shows, these Marvel shows, are incredibly expensive to produce. And so it comes down to both cost and, I think you're right, availability of the actors. Oscar Isaac is in great demand as an actor. He was shooting the show in Europe. Moonite was shot in Budapest, and it's taxing. And so I think it's a combination of the two. And remember, episodes of TV can be very expensive. These Marvel shows, I heard like $25 million an episode. That's a lot. That's a lot for a TV show. And so that's why we're getting 6 episodes. With WandaVision, the first 3 episodes were shot in a soundstage because it was supposed to be a sitcom. So you can keep the costs down. They even had a real audience come in to deliver the laugh track and laugh at what the actors were doing. So it's a combination of things, but mostly I think it does come down to cost most of all, because even the actors they hire aren't cheap. So, yeah. War Doctor 10. Every time I see War Doctor 10 write in, I keep thinking I've got to get the John Hurt War Doctor figure from Big Chief in the UK because I want one. War Doctor 10 says, "Hi, John and crew. This year is the 40th anniversary of the Miracle on Manchester, and I find it fitting that the LA Kings are playing the Oilers in the first round of the Stanley Cup playoffs. Go Kings, go, and I'm rooting for the Leaves to take the East." Okay, War Doctor, most of that didn't even seem like it was English to me, but let me see if I can get this straight. You're a hockey fan, and 40 years ago, the Miracle on Manchester happened, which is something that happened in Canada that was miraculous. Manchester Street, Manchester Island, I don't know where, maybe Manchester Garden. It's a sports stadium, I don't know. And you find it fitting that the LA Kings are playing the Oilers in the first round of the Stanley Cup playoffs. Go Kings, go. So wait, you're not in Canada, you're a Kings fan. Or maybe you are in Canada and you just like LA. And I'm rooting for the Leaves to take the East. Would that be the Maple Leaves? I'm really having a hard time, War Doctor. I'm trying to figure it all out. But first of all, ultimately what I gather from this is that you're excited about hockey. And I am happy that you are excited. And I'm sorry I'm not John because I don't know anything about hockey. John can wax rhapsodic about hockey the way I can recite the names of Star Trek episodes. It's pretty amazing. So I'm just happy you're happy. I hope the Leaves take the East, and I hope the Kings take it all, and that the Miracle on Manchester happens again, because wouldn't that be cool? I hope that's okay with you. Anonymous sends in a tip and says, "Hey, John and crew, I was watching your stream not too long ago, and I heard that John was a fan of the 2017 Power Rangers movie. We both kind of were. And I just wanted to ask, are you guys Power Rangers fans, and did you know that Hasbro is rebooting the franchise? Love the show." Well, first of all, I love Japanese science fiction. And when the Power Rangers came on, they were using Japanese TV footage and then reshooting the live action stuff with American actors. I objected to this. In principle. Why not just bring the original show over and dub it in English? I know. Chaim Saban had the idea. It was a great idea. He made millions of dollars. And how many Power Ranger shows are there? There's like 25 now. I was even in New Zealand working 15 years ago, and my friend Greg Aronowitz was one of the producers of a Power Rangers show back then. So it's cool that the show is being rebooted. I know they're bringing the toy franchise back. Not that it's ever gone anywhere. So there's a lot of people excited about the Power Rangers franchise. I just don't know much about it, but I did like the 2017 movie. It was fun. I thought it was pretty good. I enjoyed it. Jason sends in a $20 tip. Thank you, Jason. I appreciate that. Was that because we were just talking about Friday the 13th? Probably not, because this is a tip thing and you sent it when you were not watching this live. So how could you know I was going to talk about Friday the 13th and make the connection that you have the same name as the psycho killer in the entire franchise, Jason? So Jason says, "Hi, John and crew. Longtime listener since your non-spoiler Endgame episodes. I wanted to thank you and your team for the entertaining topics and discussions. It reminds me of when my friends and I would discuss movies and trailers." Well, Jason, I'm glad to hear that because, I too, I as a lifelong geek, half my life I've spent pontificating, usually now in bars over copious amounts of alcohol, about trailers and movies, and then having ridiculous conversations. Can you imagine what it's like to watch me talk about Star Trek when I'm drunk in a bar? It isn't pretty. Or there could be if you're on my side of things. John would hate it. But it's great that I feel that we have that camaraderie with the audience. And if you feel that kind of warmth from us, it's because it's true. And I'm glad you feel that way. And I want to thank you for supporting this channel. That's very nice of you. Aaron B. I love how you spell your name. First time sending in a tip. Well, just a tip. I hope it's good for you. First time sending in a tip. Just saw Doctor Strange, and holy F, Went in with no expectations, walked out seeing the perfect sequel. Raimi delivered so well. Some of the best direction and cinematography in Marvel. Perfectly self-contained movie as well. You know what, Aaron B? I kind of felt that way too. I think one of the strengths of this is it does feel, I mean, even though you're talking about the Multiverse of Madness, it did feel kind of self-contained, and I liked the movie for that. It was like reading, okay, you're going to read a summer annual. You're a Doctor Strange fan, you read all the comics, but when you get to the annual, it's a special giant-sized story for the summer. I kind of felt that way, and I really liked it. I love what Raimi did with it. I love that it was self-contained. I loved all the characters. It was awesome. So I'm glad you dug it. I kind of felt the same way that you did. So there you go. By the way, I hope my answering your first tip was satisfying for you. Impulse76 sends in a tip and says, I saw something from Doctor Strange 2 on the computer. I'm not happy. Be careful, folks. I'm mad. Well, Impulse76, I'm sorry that you're not happy. I can imagine what was on your computer. And you probably saw one of those, those people that, I don't know how the algorithm picks them up and puts them on the homepage. You'd think somebody would stop. Doctor Strange does blank, blank, blank. Or Steve from Doctor Strange, so-and-so does this to so-and-so. Even the headlines. Why do people do that? I'm convinced it's Russian bots. It's always Russian or Chinese bots. They're always doing it to us. I don't know why. Don't they like movies? The Fla Fla Buzz says, hello, guys. Happy game day. Today is also my birthday. I get to see Doctor Strange. Well, first of all, happy birthday. Mine's in a few days. Just purchased my ticket for 3 p.m. Me big happy. Me big happy too. Do any of you have a story or memory of seeing a good movie on your birthdays or in celebration of them? Yes, because I usually would see movies on my birthday. Like I told you, I got my dad to take me and my friends to see Friday the 13th on my birthday, which is an R-rated film, and I was a young whippersnapper, and I couldn't go see it. So that was a damn good birthday movie. And we talked incessantly about the kills. But I mean, that was the first thing that came to my mind. I mean, I was seeing a movie I knew I shouldn't have seen on my birthday, but I convinced my dad to take me anyway. It was pretty good. So that was the first thing I've been thinking about. The Fly Buzz. The Teleworker sends in a tip and says, greetings from a fellow YouTuber. Hello, fellow YouTuber. Just tipped to show support. Getting an office space for my friends and I to work in and do YouTube full time has been a dream of mine since high school, and seeing you guys accomplish that inspires me. Bring on the filthy. Well, Teleworker, I have to say, in terms of working YouTube and understanding how to make a YouTube channel work, this guy he's not here right now, but I've learned more from John Campea than ever before. And one of the things he does that I don't think people appreciate enough is if you go in his description, he has a list of all the equipment he uses. He's always trying to make things better for the viewing experience. And I think that's why he's successful. And I'm happy that you and your friends are on YouTube, and I think you can make a living. It's hard work. You gotta have a producer like I've got right over here, or you just gotta do it yourself and work that much harder. But it's a lot of fun, and the fact that you have friends that you can do it with is even more fun. I'll tell you something. This is one of the better jobs I've ever had in my life because we have so much fun here. I feel guilty sometimes taking John's money, but not too guilty. Not too guilty. Gnome sends in a tip and says, I feel like just yesterday we saw the first episode of WandaVision, and now we are in the Multiverse of Madness. How fast time flies. Saw Multiverse of Madness and loved it. It was so fun and still so emotional. By the way, John, will you make Harry Potter a movie club stream one day? We'll probably do Harry Potter, Gnome. I think that would be probably something we would do. I think we'd have to cover. I don't know if we'll do the first Harry Potter. I'd love to cover The Prisoner of Azkaban because that's my favorite Harry Potter movie. But maybe we will. I'm sure we'll get around to it because it is Harry Potter. It'd be hugely popular. But we have to finish Return of the King first, and then I hope we veer away. We've done 3 fantasy films. I think we need to. I'd like to do an erotic thriller, but I don't think we ever will, which is kind of a bummer. Maybe a comedy. Who knows? But I'm sure we'll do Harry Potter at some point. Oh, this is a new one. Roe says, Jonathan's ahead of me. Producer Jonathan's ahead of me. Rose says, John or Rob, it's me. I'd really like both of your opinions on this, but one is better than none. Regarding Netflix adding an ad tier, having the great platform they've created, could other software ventures be possible besides ad tiers to recoup their bottom line? Good question. I think we're gonna see Netflix get into gaming. Look, an ad tier. I do not want to suddenly see ads in my Netflix. But I understand how they're going to want to bring down their prices and have ads there. But what you're asking is, I think that getting into gaming, other kinds of content, why not? I think that that's something they're going to have to do. But again, I don't think it necessarily would. The thing is, I think everybody already knows about Netflix, and if they don't have, if Netflix is shedding subscribers, remember, we are right now in a period of massive inflation, heading toward a recession. People just don't have a lot of disposable income to waste on streaming services, and if you are not watching Netflix, you know, you dump it for a while, you wait for them to accumulate things you want to see, you pay your monthly nut, you get Netflix back, and you binge everything for a month and leave. I think, but you know, doing other things is always going to be better. Like, I think gaming is a big deal, but ad tiers, I don't know what else they can do, because Netflix is really set up the way, if they do anything else, they're going to have to change their format, I think, around a great deal. But I don't know. It's a good question. We'll have to wait and see what happens. With their stock price down 50%. Kit Vader says, do you think the decision for Doctor Strange to have a darker horror element to it could affect the box office? Parents are warned not to bring kids. What are the team's thoughts? Well, I'll tell you this. If I was a kid, my parents would know that there was a horror element, hopefully, because they were clueless about this kind of stuff. I'd just get my dad to take me and my friends, and he wouldn't even know. He was that gullible when it came to things. It's like, Dad, will you take us to see R-rated movies when we're 13? He'd be like, sure, why not? I don't know if it's going to hurt. It doesn't look like it. The box office on Doctor Strange is doing bang-up business. And I think, I think maybe some parents will be shy away from that kind of thing. But it's not like they haven't warned you. I mean, if you look at the trailers, you see Doctor Strange's face coming apart like some weird Rubik's Cube. So everyone knows it's got horror elements in it. Yesterday we actually met a family that brought their young child to the movie. And the father said that their kid really wanted their mom to be Wanda, to be Scarlet Witch next Halloween or something. And then he comes out of the movie theater and said, I don't want mom to be Wanda anymore, which I thought was adorable and hilarious at the same time. So I can understand that, but that kid looked a bit traumatized. Anonymous says, earlier today I rewatched both Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1 and Volume 2, and after 5 years, I still bawled my eyes out at the ending of Volume 2. I have a strained relationship with my father, so the theme of father-son relationships hits very hard. Anonymous, I'm glad you said that, because I really liked Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. I thought the whole underlying undercurrent of broken families and finding some kind of reconciliation between you or some kind of closure was a big part of that movie. And if you're estranged from your dad, I can totally understand that. Obviously, we meet Ego, who is Star-Lord's dad, and they end up estranged in the movie. And I can totally see that. And I really like Guardians of the Galaxy 2. I don't think it's not as fresh because you've already met the Guardians in Volume 1, but I still think it's a wonderful movie. And I might even prefer it to the first. I don't know. Kyle Hicks says, hey, John, quick question. I see that you've done a feature film in the past. Is there any plans on doing any more in the near future? I get that doing the show and many other things will take most of your time, but you may never know. Big fan, by the way. Bring on the filthy. Well, John, he made a feature narrative, and he also made a feature-length documentary in Movie Trailers, A Love Story. I don't know if John has any plans to go direct again, but maybe he would. Maybe I'm working on a few things. Maybe I can get some money and get something off the ground and convince him to come produce movies. But he might want to do it again, although he might not. I mean, let's face it, making movies is a horrible, long experience of nothing but terror on a daily basis, and you never know what's going to happen. No, I love making movies. It's just hard to do. It's really hard to do, and it's hard to raise money, and it's hard to raise money back it's hard to raise money to make the movie, and then once you put the movie out, it's hard to get the money back and pay yourselves and all that kind of stuff. It's tough. It's a tough business, especially in the indie world. YouTube is much more lucrative, much more immediate, much more gratifying, because I wouldn't be able to read questions like this from you if I was making movies all the time. So there's a trade-off. But John might make another movie again. I don't know. Kyle Hicks says, just writing in again from Australia. As you know, I lived in Sydney for a year, and I loved Australia. It was so good. I have a great movie suggestion for you all. Denis Villeneuve's 2013 film Prisoners, starring Hugh Jackman. I'd say my favorite movie of all time, and I watch it a lot. Dude, pardon me, Kyle, but if Prisoners is your favorite movie of all time and you watch it a lot, you got problems. I'm just saying, you're a little effed up in the head. But you're right. That movie is incredible, but man, it's really depressing. It's really hardcore. But the performances, my God, the performances in that movie. I can understand why it might be your favorite movie of all time, because it is an exquisite film. Denis Villeneuve knocked it out of the park with that. I mean, Prisoners and Sicario, very different from his genre stuff, but what an incredible director he is. And man, that movie's rough, dude. It's hard. It's hard to watch sometimes. And it's your favorite movie. No judgment. I was kidding before. You've got good taste in films, but man, tough one. That's a tough one. But a great movie. Great cast. Great movie. Love it. Carlos 19 says, well, I saw Doctor Strange and did it without seeing the leaks or the final TV spots. So saw those scenes in a theater in 3D for the first time, and it was great. People, including myself, clapping and cheering. Loved it. Love you guys. Bring on the filthy. Man, I'm so glad you got to see it in 3D. I'm going on Sunday to the world-famous Chinese theater to see it in 3D IMAX. I'm glad you had a great experience. It was a lot of fun. You know, I think if you let the movie just wash over you, most people have a good time. It is so much fun to watch. You know, when you start analyzing it and how does this work in the larger MCU, then it starts to get maybe a little problematic. But as a standalone, I mean, can any movie in the MCU be standalone? But as a standalone Doctor Strange film, I thoroughly enjoyed it. What a delight, what a fun experience to watch that movie in a theater. So I agree. Oh, that was good. Carlos says, I finally caved and ordered my first hot toy and took a page from Rob and got one with the chair. You got one with the chair? I know how Rob loves his hot toys with chairs. Well, I got me Boba Fett on the throne, bro. Carlos, that figure is awesome. The Boba Fett 2-pack that came out from Mandalorian Season 2, amazing. But that Boba Fett on the throne, that's going to have what we like to call in collectors circles shelf presence. You put that up on a shelf, people will walk in, they will bow down thinking that's some kind of a religious altar. And it is. Boba Fett sitting on his throne in Jabba the Hutt's palace. Come on, man. It doesn't get any better than that. That, my friend, is a fine, free, or first Hot Toys purchase. And that shouldn't come out that long from now. I don't know when it comes out, but damn, well done. I'm proud of you. You've taken your first step into a larger world. Report back. Tell us what you think. Michael Jones sends in a tip and says, I apologize in advance for nitpicking, but Hero, the song from SpiderMan 2002, is not a Nickelback song. What? It's by their lead singer, Chad Kroeger, and Jamie Sand, in fact. The reason it's not a Nickelback song is the rest of the band didn't like it. Well, first of all, Michael Jones, that's disturbing on a number of levels. It's disturbing that you know that much about Nickelback to be able to write this in and tell us that. And two, there is no two. According to Ray, that's it. Well, I want to thank you for writing in. That was very funny. But no, listen. There are lots of bands that I probably shouldn't like, and I probably know too much about those bands. So I appreciate your love of Nickelback, and I like to be straightened out like this. So now I know, and I can't wait to go to Comic-Con and be like, hey, you know what? I'm going to be in a conversation with somebody, and I can say, because of your tip, I can say, you know, that really wasn't a Nickelback song at the end of Spider-Man 2002. Thanks to you. See, you learn something every day. You might learn from me, but I learned from you too. I also learned something that I've always known. I don't own any Nickelback, and I'm not going to go back and listen to that CD because I don't have it. Big Will says, hi, John and crew. So you suggested some post shows to review. Well, what about Bosch? Bosch Legacy and Netflix's upcoming The Lincoln Lawyer. Those are both based on Michael Connelly books, as you say. The first 4 episodes of Bosch Legacy has been amazing. I've watched it. You're right. Author Michael Connelly is brilliant. I can't wait to see The Lincoln Lawyer. Bring on the filthy. Well, you know, Matthew McConaughey starred in the film version of The Lincoln Lawyer, and now they're doing a new TV series. I saw a trailer for it. It looks pretty good. I'm a huge Michael Connelly fan. And, you know, in the books, he teams up The Lincoln Lawyer with Bosch. And so, yeah, great taste. Those are great shows. And I thought Bosch Legacy, because it's like on IMDb TV, was going to be some cheapo version of the original. It's not. It's, like you said, it's really good. I'm really digging it, and I'm just happy Titus Welliver is coming back. He's awesome. Andy S., one of 2, says, hi, John Andor. What? Andor what? Hi, John Andor. Rob was what you wanted to say. I'd like to say thanks to you. A friend and I started our own film YouTube channel. Congratulations. On our first video, we got 500 views and 48 subscribers. 25 hours. I hope it continues to grow. I don't know if that's good or bad. You know what? It doesn't matter. It's a start. And you guys did it. You went out and made it happen. If that's good or bad or not, but it's something. Our channel is in Spanish. It's called Film Hunters and currently doesn't come up even if searched by name. We have to add some words of the title for it to come up. Hope that changes if and when our views grow. Well, first of all, Andy S., how awesome is it that you started a Spanish YouTube channel? What you got to do is do a little grassroots marketing. You know, maybe target different Spanish groups in Spain and in Mexico and in parts of South America, wherever anyone speaks Spanish. Go out and really start working that algorithm, or start writing to Spanish entertainment websites and things and say you guys have a new YouTube channel and that you want the support. I think it's great that you're doing that. It's fantastic because that takes initiative and it's hard work, and it's great that you are choosing to do that. Congratulations. And I'm glad we helped inspire you. And I guess that brings us to the end, an inspirational story of YouTube creators that started their own YouTube channel in Spanish. Well, that ends today's mailbag for Friday, May 6th. You know what? I'm not hungover today because I didn't celebrate Cinco de Mayo. But for those of you who are hungover and you did celebrate Cinco de Mayo, I'm glad you did. And hopefully you'll go see Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Of course, we here at the John Campea Show very much appreciate your ongoing support of this channel via your tips and, of course, your super chats. And, well, since you're watching Mailbag, you know how to send in a tip. You can do one at the link below. I can't speak. The link below, anytime, 24/7, day or night, we have operators standing by to take your tips and your questions. So you can do it anytime you want. I, of course, am Robert Meyer Burnett. You can follow me on Instagram, and if you do that, that's one place that John Campea isn't, because he does not follow me on Instagram. I twist his arm. He won't do it. He won't just make that click. But you can find me on Instagram at Robert Meyer Burnett, or RM Burnett. You can find me on Twitter at BurnettRM, and now I'm invading TikTok. If you look up the Post Geek Singularity or just Post Geek Singularity, find me on TikTok or find me on my YouTube channel, the Post Geek Singularity. Because you are an imagination connoisseur, right? Yes. So remember, every person you meet has a story to tell that you have yet to hear, and all you have to do is listen. So for the John Campea Show and all the crew, for producer Jonathan, for Ray Ora, for John Campea, for Chris and Aaron, and Joey Bishop, the dog, and Ann, and the 2 Dashhounds, and everybody involved, we want to thank you for being here. Enjoy your weekend, and we'll see you back here bringing the filthy week after week after week.